presentation, as you think of questions, go ahead and ask Diego to type them into the chat so that way we can get a good order of them going. So with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and get things going. So welcome to the York College International Student Webinar. We're so excited to have each and every one of you here. I want you guys to know that you do have support in this long journey. But like they said earlier, the important thing is to start now. You have to start thinking about how you can diversify yourself and spread yourself and market yourself as an asset that they can't pass up on. So with that being said, I'm just going to introduce the speakers right now, and then we'll go ahead and start getting into some of the questions that were submitted beforehand. And then we'll go ahead and get into some of the questions that you guys might have think while the presentation is happening. So the first person that we have the pleasure of having today is Coach Kwan Siegel. So Coach Kwan is an experienced human capital consultant and a career coach for international students. She's originally from Thailand, and Kwan moved to the US and joined one of the world's top consulting firms in Chicago. So with 20 years of experience at global companies like BMW, Accenture, and Deloitte, which is one of the big four, she helped companies develop talent development initiatives, and that impacted employees worldwide. So today, she actually runs her own business. She's the founder of ICOA, which is one of her missions is to empower international students for employability and serve international educators as a trusted advisor. So Kwan holds an executive MBA through Assassin and a Kellogg School of Management and Global Partnership. She also has a certification of senior professional in HR by HRCI. So welcome, Kwan. We're a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, George. Such an honor to be here.
Of course. So, and the next panelist we have up here, some of you might already know her. Angela Jang is joining us. So she is a native from Beijing, China, and Angela Jang actually came to York College in 2000. So in her first year at York, she made the life-changing decision to become a Christian and was baptized at East Hill Church of Christ. So throughout her time at York College, she was part of the Omega Phi Social Club. She served in multiple positions at student government and was part of the PBL Scythe Business Organization. And that's going to come into play on how she was able to diversify herself. So it's very important to be multiply involved. So Angela graduated in 2004 with a business administration and accounting degree, which is what many of you sitting there right now are currently seeking. So she went on to complete her master's of accountancy at Abilene Christian University and is a certified public accountant. So Angela began her career with KPMG, one of the big four accounting firms, and also worked at TriMas Corporation in Michigan. So in 2011, Jang's career path led her to PricewaterhouseCoopers, where she serves as director in PwC's cyber, risk, and regulatory practice. And she advises clients on matters involving internal audit, digital transformation, and risks and compliance. So everybody, welcome Angela. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here again and then seeing everybody.
And last but not least, we have our friend here, attorney Art Serratelli. So Art has been practicing law since 1993, and Art focuses exclusively on advising organizations and individuals on employment-based and family-based immigration law matters. So Art brings a unique, multifaceted approach to case strategy, drawing upon his strong liberal arts education at Georgetown, his business background as a CPA and MBA, and his study of government administrative law in Washington, DC. So everybody go ahead and welcome Art. Pleasure to have you here, Mr. Serratelli.
Thank you so much. And I want to tell you that, Angela, I not only studied accounting and business management, I went to law school. That was like icing on the cake, but I've been to Abilene. I spoke at your school and at Hardin Simmons in the church up on the hill. It's the Hardin Simmons Church. I forget the name, but it's.
Yeah, no, I remember that church over there. I know the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name though. It's embarrassing. But anyway, where you went to school is fun. No one would think Abilene, Texas, but it was fun. So
yep.
I'm amazed. World. Yeah, small world, very small world. All right, hello everybody.
And as you can see, we have people here from different backgrounds that are here to assist you. Either they work with this every day, this type of questions or fears, or they lived it themselves. So this is a great panel to be hosting on our campus. And so with that being said, we'll hop into our Q&A now. So the way we have it structured is we have 3 questions that were submitted in. And then, like I said, if you have any questions during the presentation, go ahead and tell Diego. So Coming up first, the first question we were asked before this panel was made was, what has held back international graduates from landing their dream careers? So para ustedes, ¿qué está retrasando a ustedes que no le está preventando a ganar la oportunidad de ustedes sueños? So with that, Kwan, go ahead.
Of course, and Josh, you're such an amazing moderator. Thank you so much for, helping us with this session. And Angela, thank you so much for letting me know about this event and your college. I'm so impressed with all the students that I have met so far, and thank you for accepting my request to be here. Okay, and answering your question, Josh, about the main obstacle that international students normally face and, like stumble through when trying to find their dream job, right? Most students will say that, Coach Kwan, when I reach out to companies, the first thing that they tell me is that we don't sponsor international students. When I ask the question, like, do you sponsor me? So that is the first complaint that I normally hear from international students. So what I'm going to say is that think of yourself like when you are searching for a job. Let's think about this. Why employers want to sponsor a candidate when there are domestic candidates out there? It means there is a problem, and they want to invest extra in someone that they can bring in to solve that problem. So instead of reaching out to the companies with the mindset that, will you sponsor me? Let's change that approach, right? Think about how you become that problem solver for that company and understand more, do more research about what kind of problems they are facing. So show yourself as a valuable addition to the team, something that they have to invest extra in order to have you on board, and it's going to be a great investment. So that's my thought, and I would love to hear from other panelists as well.
All right, thank you, Kwan. So just to recap that, you have to think like an employer, get into that hidden job market, and know how to position and sell yourself. So
Exactly.
Angela, if you want to go ahead and answer. The question again was, what has held back international graduates from landing their dream careers?
So my thought is actually very similar to Kwan's. I would say it's actually a lean back mentality rather than a lean forward mentality. And a lot of that lean back came from the fact that we're international students and we felt like the legal status is going to be a hurdle that we just cannot or would not be able to get through. And my recommendation is think about what you can offer and put yourself at the same starting point and same level set as the other candidates. At the end of the day, companies are not going to pass a great candidate who's having the qualification as well as the aptitude that will work really well for them. And if you demonstrate that capability and making that match over to the employer, let the rest of the things work itself out. It's not as easy. I may make it sound like very easy. There's a lot of administrative side of things that needs to happen at the end, right? But you always have to remember, employers, when they look at you at the first time and listen to you, the first thought in their head is not, hey, am I going to actually sponsor this person? The first thought in their head is going to be, are you the right person for my team? Are you going to be able to bring me some of the progression that I'm looking to actually build out to what I have right now?
And I think Angela really did a good job of being at York College and involving herself in multiple things that would set her apart. For example, she did Omega Phi, she did PBL and SCIF, and then she was a part of student government. So think of ways you can start setting yourself apart now here, and then other ways that you can add qualifications, such as like a coding experience or technology experience paired with that. So thank you very much, Angela. Great answer. So up next, we have Art, who is going to be answering the question of what has held back international graduates from landing their dream careers.
Well, what Angela said, one of the things was that you want to lean back. If the first thing you say when you meet an employer is, hello, my name is Ramesh Patel, and I would like an EB2 perm labor certification green card, and you'll also sponsor my H-1B. Is that correct? It's like they turn their brain off. That's the worst. Don't be so anxious about the damn visa that you forget it's a job interview. You have to talk about you and what's so great and special and marketable about you. Just don't refer to yourself like as a product, but you have a brand. You go in there selling a brand, but you don't say, well, my brand is, my brand is I'm the anti-lawyer. I'm not a normal lawyer. That's my brand, but I don't go, well, actually I do say that a lot, but the point is, the point is, don't talk about immigration right off the bat. And in fact, Angela said it without saying it. A lot of administrative things happen near the end. What she means, I hope, is if you can get through the damn interview process without saying a word about immigration, then when you get the job offer, bring it up then, because you don't want to waste your OPT in a company that won't sponsor your H. And you don't want to go into a company that's not going to have any interest beyond OPT. And some companies don't even want you on OPT because they don't want to sponsor you for an H or a green card. So, but you deal with that at the end. And if they are dumb enough to give you a job offer as the best candidate, and then they take it back because you need a visa, you don't want to work there anyway. And that's an Italian thing. I learned it in my grandmother's house, and also in law school. I had a whole semester of this. So yeah, don't talk about immigration. Make it the last thing if you can get away with it. Okay. All right.
That's perfect. I was going to say that leads right into our second question, which is one that a lot of people have fears of. It's when clicking yes to a question, do you now or will you require a sponsor in the future? Will a company reject me for answering yes? So just to kind of spin that a different way for the people there, how would you justify it? I know that you kind of touched into it a little bit, but let's say I'm applying online. I know I can't lie about it, but
right.
How can I make up to that next step at least?
All right. Well, all right. Now, a lot of people will have to weigh their own personal sense of right and wrong about what I'm going to say next. But I will tell you, you check, oh yeah, I need sponsorship. Oh yeah, I'm going to need work authorization. The electronic garbage can is waiting for you. So you'll get rejected a lot if you tell them you need a sponsorship. So don't lie, number one. If the question is, are you permanently allowed to work in the United States, or are you permanently work authorized in the United States? No, you're not. No. OPT goes away. CPT in school goes away. OPT after school goes away. The green card never goes away. So then you got to have a green card to answer yes. Are you permanently authorized to work? But other than that question, it's all subjective and temporal. So what do I mean? Well, subjective. Do you need sponsorship? Sponsorship? That's not even a real thing. What are you talking about? Are you talking about work authorization from school, like CPT or OPT? I don't need that. I have it now. CPT now and OPT after I graduate for at least a year. So do I need sponsorship? No, I don't know what that word means, but I know I have work authorization. So no. Do I need sponsorship? What are you talking about? A work visa? You mean like an H-1B or some other like religious R1 religious worker? Do I need a work visa? You said sponsorship. I don't know what that is. I'll tell you what, I have OPT, and if we get along and you want to get me a work visa, you could, but do I need it? No, I need oxygen. I need water and clothing. I don't want to walk around hungry, thirsty, and nude, but no, I don't need it. Now that's where people get a little uncomfortable. And then the last one, the only thing I could say, sir or madam, whoever's interviewing you, is on campus, we used to learn about things called the employer-sponsored or family-sponsored green card. You asked me, did I need sponsorship? I don't need a green card. No, I have OPT now and I don't need a green card. What I do need is an H-1B. But you don't, you know what I mean? Like, so if you feel that that's a lie because you're interpreting a question very liberally, then don't do it. But I have found if you don't do it that way, you're never going to get in the door. And like Kwan was saying, they'll tell you they don't sponsor until they find the right student who they will sponsor. We don't sponsor is baloney. What they're trying to say is we don't sponsor morons, but if you're a hardworking, smart person, they will sponsor you, I promise. That's my answer.
All right, I like the spin on it. Like I said, don't lie, but how are you interpreting it? How will it be a plus to the company for them to pick you up and then answer the sponsorship?
Like, do I need sponsorship now or in the future? Now, like right now? No, I have CPT now. When I graduate in the future, I have OPT. No, now I'm covered CPT, future OPT. No, no, no. Oh, you meant way in the future? You meant H-1B? Oh, my bad. Sorry. Maybe you want to rewrite that question. Sorry. You know, like the heck with them. The heck with them. It's your future.
I love it, Art. I really do. So up next, we have Kwan who will be answering. So Kwan, when clicking yes to a question, do you now or will require a sponsor in the future? Will a company reject me or how should I go around that?
Okay, answering the first question, will the company reject you right away? Just clicking that yes box. It depends. Okay, it depends on the job, it depends on the role, it depends on the company. Some company, a particular like department, they set aside some budget to sponsor. And if you apply for those roles probably, yes, they might accept you to get into the next round. But remember, as Angela mentioned at the beginning, STEM-based degree, right? Or if you don't even have STEM, have those technical system, some specific system that is in high demand in the job market. Those skills are important, and normally those jobs they accept to sponsor. Okay, so it depends, right? So some students may like, since it depends and it is unpredictable because HR policy keeps changing all the time. Last year, those jobs agree to sponsor. This year, they might not. Even you check on myvisajobs.com, it shows the record of sponsoring last year. They may say this year we're not sponsoring anymore. So some students use this approach, always say, no, I don't need sponsorship in the future because they use the suggestion from Art, which is so easy and very easy to understand, right? Because it's so ambiguous, that question. So they click no, and they got into the first round, second round, third round, final round, got the offer. So just prepare for that situation. Some students get the offer and get accepted and share with the hiring manager or their boss that, when they click yes and click no, I don't need sponsorship at that time, I mean that I have OPT for 3 years and like I don't need any sponsorship. If let's say my status change, if it's not changed, maybe after 3 years I will need sponsorship, and they agree to admit the student and continue working with them. Some employers may withdraw the job offer, and that happens as well. So when you click no, there will be chances for you to get into interviews more, but also be prepared at the end of the cycle that they might withdraw if that company and that department doesn't sponsor. So what should you do? The best approach for international students who look for job is to get into the hidden job market. Get to speak with the hiring manager or find your career advocates who can refer you because of the relationship that you have, so that people that hire you will care more about your capabilities more than your visa status. And they already know that you're not originally from America, from the US, you don't have US citizen. They know that you are international, but they refer you because they trust in your capabilities. So if you get into that route of, getting referred directly and people advocate your capability, there will be higher chances of getting the job offer and the job will not be withdrawn at the end.
Well said, Kwan. Well said. If you guys are having trouble like understanding the hidden network, just come talk to me after this, and we can definitely get you started connected in the right place.
The hidden network is so important. People in the hidden network give other people jobs based on recommendations of other people. You send your resume with the yes and no, I need a sponsorship, I don't, whatever the heck, rare. If you're having to put in a resume through a computer, forget it. You need the hidden job market.
It's all about relationship.
Yes, yes.
Angela, go ahead with your thoughts and input into this. Will a company reject me for answering yes? And how can I kind of skirt around that?
Yeah, so I have less experience in this area, but I do remember a situation. Kwan, actually, that was the year that you and I met at Ascend. I was part of that career fair, and I was interviewing on behalf of PLLC. And that year, I can't remember exactly what happened. Must be some kind of public policies, just a direction down, and the economy may not be very good. We specifically were instructed that watch out for the requirement for H-1B, and we actually needed to ask that question. And also, when they answered a question that, hey, I do need sponsorship, then follow up with the question, do you have a STEM degree, right? So there's some component working into it. And I remember I asked the question, and I usually wait until the end because I don't want that answer to impact my ability to judge if this person is the right person to bring in, right? So I asked at the end, and this girl did such an amazing job answering that question. She really turned it around. She didn't directly answer the question, and she turned it into the ways that, Angela, what I'm looking for is a dynamic working environment that's challenging, allow me to utilize my skill set in A, B, C, and D, which we had already talked about. She has already established her qualification in front of me, right? And that answer at the end of the day, she didn't lie to me. And I probably didn't get a very straight answer, but I read between the lines. I know that she needed, right? But at the end of the day, what I was getting at is she is a very good candidate. So when I wrote the notes over back to the recruiting team, I said this person will need H-1B sponsorship. However, I would highly recommend interviewing her, going through the office process, because she is a great candidate and I would want her on my team. So it becomes a very different dynamic at the end of the day.
And that person you spoke to, Angela, probably was Coach Kwan's student. That's brilliant, man. That is brilliant what they did.
Yeah, great example.
Yeah, right, Kwan. They told the truth without saying it, and reminded you why, Angela, why all the qualifications were just what you were looking for. That's so smart. That's so smart.
Because what I cared about as a person who's trying to hire, I cared about if you're the right person to work on my team. I let like HR take care of the rest of things.
Well said. Well said. I really appreciate all the answers from the panelists so far. So I just want to remind you guys that these are people that work with this every day or have gone through it themselves. Like Angela just said, she even helped out another international student with it. So that leads right into our next question. Specifically for us, York College being a small school, how can we stand out as students from a smaller network? And so, Angela, I'll go ahead and give that one off to you, especially since you came from York College. I mean, you're all the way up to a director at PwC, been with other firms. How'd you do it? How'd you stand out?
I mean, York College, when I left, when I graduated, was a student body of 426 people. And then I went on to Abilene Christian to get my master's degree. And Abilene Christian, even though bigger, I think the population at that time was like 2,500 or something. Not big by any means. And I was in Dallas, Fort Worth, a commercial city, very competitive. And we were competing against schools like UT, University of Texas, the TCU, a lot of the big schools out there. And at the end of the day, still was able to get an offer. I think that the key thing that I'm seeing is don't turn that small school into a negative. or feel like it's negative, I actually turn it into a positive. Because the part of the thing is, when you're out of a small school, you basically have to take on multiple leadership roles. There's only this many of us, but there's still a whole suite of things that needs to happen, right? So each one of us had take on different roles and have a lot of experience out of it. And I really took advantage of that as part of my whole storytelling. And in prepping for my interviews, I actually put together a portfolio. At the time, it's all paper-based, so you guys can probably do that now with like on your phone or something digital. But I had one of those black portfolio book that's letter bound, and then you open it up. There's different pages that you can actually add it in. I had a recommendation letter from the prior employers. I had a heartfelt letter that Dr. Roush wrote me for my days in the concert choir. I actually had pictures about my PBL side competitions when I worked like one individual, award or the team awards. And, sometimes we get all of these activities happening in York, in the town. And I have picture where I dressed up as Clifford the red dog and helping with the children and really bringing their experiences together. I had a bunch of those things, and it did two things for me. One is it really turned my experience into something really positive. And two is it also, I don't know if anybody experienced this, but I was kind of a little bit awkward and shy when I was going through the interview process. I was always afraid that I'm going to run out of things to talk to people about, and carrying that portfolio gave me something that I can use as a visual aid to actually show people and talk through it. So it also made the interview much more wholesome.
Great answer, Angela. I was going to say a lot of people, are very familiar with everything you just talked about here on campus, the choir, PBL scythe, just all these different ways that you stayed involved and set yourself apart. So I really appreciate your answer. So Art, up next, you have spoke with many schools that range in different sizes, universities to colleges to JUCOs. How do students stand out from a smaller network?
Well, if the network is smaller, I try to have the students look. Am I allowed to share my screen for just a minute? I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. Okay. So what I do is I try to tell the student, look, there are more visas than just this H-1B with the lottery. I mentioned earlier the H-1B with no lottery. There's an L-1A. What's an L-1A? If you lose the lottery for a multinational like where Angela works and they love you, they'll put you with PwC in Shanghai or something for a year and then bring you back as an L-1A. Oh, they don't do that for everybody. We don't do that. But if they love you, they will do it. I swear to you. They sent a girl from China from EY in Boston. She lost the lottery, best day of her life. They sent her to the United Arab Emirates office in Dubai of EY and brought her back 18 months later as the specialist in Middle East tax-free zones in Boston, and she was the expert in the Northeast of the United States for EY. What? That's how much they loved her. So they won't do it until they do. So remember that. Remember, there are lots of visas. There are 12 popular ones. And if you do this, you do your visa planning first. And I can send you these slides. I'll put my email in the chat. I'll send my slides to Josh and Diego, and I will basically help you understand all this. But essentially, if you pick these visa categories by your citizenship, the ones between the two lines are based on citizenship. The rest are available to everybody born everywhere and a citizen of every country on earth. The top 5, bottom 4. The middle 3 here are based on your citizenship, based on where you want to work. You want to work in a religious organization, R1. You want to work in a non-governmental organization, that's a G visa or an H-1B with no lottery. So the point is, if you do the research first about which visas could suit you, you narrow them down. There's 12, maybe you get 4. Then based on those 4, you send out all your dream job resumes, and no resume sending, the secret underground network of job searching beyond the formal network. You use the hidden network. Your dream job will probably be H-1B with a lottery. That's the dream job. But if you don't do the planning with the visa first, you're going to be stuck with just this. And if you lose the lottery 3 times, you got nothing. So you could also figure out which ones of these categories fit your needs. And it might not be your dream job, but it might be close enough. So you give yourself power by way of what Angela said. You give yourself power by knowing that other than this rotten one up here, every other category is no lottery, no quota. You get the job offered, there will be a visa available for you. So you don't have to worry if they can get you a visa, because they all can, except for this top one, because it's a lottery. So if you feel better because you're using the immigration system to give you confidence and you're using it as a tool to help you get employed, then you got nothing to lose. You get the job, you get the visa. You don't get the job, you get another job interview and maybe get a G visa instead of an R, or an H-1B with no lottery instead of the H with the lottery, whatever. But you do it backwards. You work from here, figure out which of those 12 you want, and then you start looking for jobs. You notice I didn't say send resume. I said look for jobs. That's what Kwan is all about, and that's what Angela's all about. Remember, Angela said she didn't have that many experiences with that question, do you need sponsorship? I'll bet you Angela used the hidden job network. True? True, Angela? Say yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. All right. So I'm done. That's my 2 cents. And the kids in Hardin Simmons and Abilene Christian loved this. It made them come out of the dark into the light to see what choices they had. And then they worked backwards and they felt more confident. And even if you're not going to get a job, you'll still feel more confident while you're looking. I promise you, it's really good. Angela's advice, Kwan's service, and my 2 cents will get you very far.
Great.
And guys, to Art's point, I remember when I was going through the recruiting process at Abilene Christian, right? You know, there are schools coming in to actually recruit. 3 out of the big 4 were actually out there. I remember going through that whole process. The people who really supported me the most are actually the alumni from the school that actually went into the places. Some of them only been there for a couple of years. Some of them actually make it all the way to like partner level. And they also later on helped me with the selection when I got like multiple offers in there. Definitely utilize your network, because you need to figure out what is the right decision for you, and then what is the right place to actually go into and what they're looking for.
Great, great. I love it. And so, Kwan, you work with students all day. That's your job. I mean, you coach these students up to get these jobs. So how can they stand out as students from a smaller network? How do you see that coming into play?
Of course. And actually, you know, smaller network could be your advantage, because people will even want to help you out. You see, Angela, she's the director of PWC. Her life is so busy, but she take the time out to be here to help you, give you advice. And this happens with the smaller network. You have it does not depend on the numbers of people, right? It depends on the quality of that network. On top of that, remember one thing, we are in the 21st century. Technology is the best. You don't even need to meet that person, you know, face to face. LinkedIn is the best place to build your profile and network with others. I make lots of new friends, colleagues, collaborators through LinkedIn. And that is the tool that you need to use if you want to expand outside your current network. And another opportunities that you can use is to participate in professional affiliations out there and use your ethnicity, you know, as your advantage as well, like Ascend for Pan-Asian, right? Like people from Asian country like I am and Angela for, as well. we get to meet each other, Angela, through Ascend, which is the largest Pan-Asian organization in North America. And there are organizations like Prospaniga, Alpha, for Hispanic community. You get to meet with top leaders out there that used to be in your shoes, know how hard it is to be the first generation immigrant here or to be an international student here. So use those networks. There are a lot more places for you to expand your network outside your campus.
Awesome. Thank you so much, all three of you, for that, answering that question, because I think that that's one of those things, we apply and we think that we're not qualified enough, or why are they, not calling me back? But it's the ways we have to get into how are we presenting ourselves? Who are we talking to? All of those factor into who will be able to think that we're the right hire. So that's the questions that we had sent in. We're going to go switch over to some of the questions that have popped up during the presentation. A lot of these questions are more related towards the Nebraska immigration side. So I would highly recommend for some of these technical questions of immigration to first go to Mallory and David, the DSOs here at your college. They'll have a little bit more knowledge of the specifications here. And then for any more of the federal related questions, Art put his email graciously in the chat. So once we share those slides, if there's still questions about that, feel free to contact him and he'll do the best job to his ability to be able to get you to that.
And you're not going to get a bill. So what Kwan was saying and Angela was saying about the ethnic geographic community-based organizations, I'm mentally a part of that. Actually not, I was born here, but in my head, my great-grandmother's Italian accent voice is ringing in my head. The woman was 99 and insane. She had a crazy dog that would jump up and try to bite your throat. The dog was a little dog like Toto from The Wizard of Oz, and I was afraid the dog was going to kill me when I was little. So I do this work because it's like a mission. It says, this is no job. This is not a job. I do this all the time, every day. I love it. If I'm talking to students or on social media, whatever, it's because I was dealt, my family was dealt a really good hand in America. And you guys are my great-grandmother with the crazy dog. And she was not as educated as you all are. I never made it. I worked at Ernst and Winnie, when there was the big 8. I never made it to director. I bailed after 2 years. So you all are way smarter than I am. I'll promise you that. You're way smarter than my great-grandmother because she never had any education. But I'm doing this for her, and I'm doing it because America treated our family fairly. I owe it to you guys to help. And so does Kwan. Kwan, when I say what I say, pretend Kwan's saying it too, or Kwan can say it. I mean, we're not doing this just because it's work. It's more than work. It's more. Every student Kwan sees, she sees herself.
Agree
right?
with you 100%, Art.
Yeah, this is a joke. We love this. So you call us, we'll advise you. And then if you need us to provide services, then there's a fee. But just talking to figure out what the next right step is, you contact us, really, please.
Yes.
And one question I'm seeing in the chat right now that I think all three of you can answer. A lot of people are asking how they can add a STEM qualification onto their resume, whether that's a certificate, maybe a minor, or maybe, getting a separate associate's degree. What's your guys' opinion on that? What would be a good one that you see right now at PwC? What's one that you've coached people into, or what's a good one that stands out like a nonprofit or some of the other pieces we were talking about? So I'm just gonna have Kwan go first, then I'll have Angela, and then Arthur.
Of course, I love this question, developing what I call a career brand, right? And you want to add a STEM language in there. So this is a broad question. First of all, you need to identify which STEM job that you are targeting and then analyze the job description, look into those requirements, and that job requirement, job description that posted on LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, those things are so helpful. Use those languages to put on your resume, LinkedIn profile, portfolio. Don't just stop at a resume, go beyond it. So that's my short recommendation. Angela, would love to hear your thoughts about how you screen a candidate at PwC.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, from an accounting or even business world, a lot of the employers, even our client, are looking for certain qualification out there. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have an extra degree that tied over to the stamp. Of course, you'll be nicer if you have it, if you have the time to actually go through that whole process. But even taking some classes and in your resume, code out those classes that you've taken that relating over to the MIS from an information system standpoint, from a data analytics standpoint, from any of the and any experiences that you have with certain tools and applications from data analytics automation standpoint, those are all going to be really helpful. So one thing, if you guys check in online with several of the pretty popular digital automation tools, things like Alteryx, things like Tableau from a visualization standpoint, even sometimes thinking about the ACL, which is another analytics tool, and from an RPA standpoint, looking at the UiPath, all of these, they actually have certifications that you can go through a study, and it's a self-study, and then you take some tests and then get that qualification. It's not very costly to actually get that. But as you're building up your resume and talking through your experiences, talk about those classes that you've taken, even talk about the self-learning experience that you had on the digital side of the things from digital upskilling standpoint, and list out any of the certification that you had secured as part of your learning progress. I shared with a few of the business school folks, there was an app that was developed by PwC. It's called Digital Fitness. And during the pandemic, it was actually the app that we used to upskill the 25,000 United States employees of ours. And it took a 2-year journey for us, and we didn't leave anybody behind. So during the pandemic, and with a lot of the training and upskilling needs that's required, we actually put out that app for free to everybody, our clients, students, everybody to use. Take a look at that and then see how much you can learn from it. And what you're going to get a lot is the conceptual and then the knowledge and the experience getting into this world that maybe right now is a little bit new or foreign to you that you haven't really dig into. And the knowledge goes from the basic and the introduction and goes deeper dive and getting to more of the learning path at the end.
Art, any words on that?
I think it's been pretty much covered. The only thing I would add, if you're looking for STEM to get extra OPT years, that might not happen after the fact. Like, for example, if you're in a bachelor's or a master's program and you want to go backwards to community college to get a STEM degree, you're not going to get 3 years of STEM OPT because you went backwards, and it's community college and you only get OPT after successive higher levels of education. So that's one. But two, I just learned something from Angela, that the STEM isn't just for OPT anymore. It's for actual real life use to do well on the job. So if you're interested in STEM to make you excel at work, by all means, take self-paced certificate programs, go to community college. I'm all for community college as a place to learn a skill set. And I'm also for it if you want to save a lot of money in tuition for the first 2 years of college. You save a lot of money. So the OPT STEM is one issue with STEM study, but the real issue is the skills you get to talk about in the interview. My daughter got denied 2 job opportunities because she's a buyer for a very small upscale grocery store in Washington, D.C. She wanted to go to the next level of company. And they all said, you're great. Everything is wonderful, but you don't have logistics experience or study. So she was thinking about going back to school, and the degree was like, it was like 2 years. It was like over $100,000. I'm like, are you high? You could be a doctor. So a medicine. So I told her maybe self-study. She goes, oh no, self-study. She just wrote it off. And now here, a director at PwC is telling me, no, that certificate program with the exam and the self-study is a thing that you could talk about in an interview. The kid doesn't know what she doesn't know. That's the other thing I'll tell you. You don't know what you don't know. Angela knows what you should know. And so does Kwan. And now I know a little more than I used to, but I don't even know, right? You know what I'm saying? So you have to really think it through, and don't just think of STEM credits and study as a way to get an extra year or two of OPT. It's to help you at work. You want to go to work and impress Angela. That's what you want to do. You want Angela to say, wow, that person knows their stuff. You give that person an assignment, boom, they get it done really efficiently. They must know some computer software that they're keeping a secret or whatever. Yeah, so that's all I could add.
All right.
Yeah, Art, I definitely agree with you on that. I think this sometimes STEM got that connotation that it is very much for the legal status purpose, but really it is actually a skill set. Think about it. Nobody's going to put it for a need for the legal status as an advantage unless there's a big need for it, right? And I mentioned about like the firm's 2-year upskilling journey. And right now, I mean, I don't like the attitude, but I'll tell you, my staff will come over to me and say, I don't want to do this thing. It takes me 25 hours every month to actually do this. I hate it. You know what? I'm going to build a bot to actually do it. Go right ahead. You have the skill set. As long as you follow the governance and actually set it up properly and it runs properly, you take that time off. And that means you cut the 25 hours and throughout the whole month, and I'm gonna find something else more meaningful for you to do, right? So it becomes a better experience, and it also really impresses the employee at the moment. Even all of my clients are looking for that skill set and that advantage.
Right. I think I'm falling in love with Angela. Is this wrong on a panel discussion? Is that wrong?
All right, so we have reached the end of the panel. It went by way too quick. I know that I've been enjoying the conversations we've had, enjoyed the panelists as well. So for our panelists, what's one final call to action that you could give to our international students? And we'll start with Kwan.
Okay, I can kickstart for sure. And all of our conversation today is very unique and very helpful. I want you to take note, and be committed to take action by using our advice today. Okay, we can share everything that we know today, but the only person that can make it happen is you. In order to find that job, bypass the immigration hurdle and get into the hidden job market. And Josh is a great example, who used the academic life to build leadership, and also your career services, your university school officers who helped you with those resources for international students to build career here. So utilize all the resources that you have. And on top of that, I also have Christmas gift for you guys. I put together some slots for reviewing a resume for you. So I'm going to share my calendar here, and you can reserve a spot. I provide just a few spots there for you to meet with me, and we will review your resume. And the recording of today's webinar will be on icwa.com/webinar as well. So stay tuned with that.
And all the extra resources that are coming from this, the slides, the contact information and the resume sign up, that will be forwarded to you in an email that Diego and I will draft after this. So Angela, do you have a final call to action for our international students here at your college?
Be a go-getter and lean in. You're going to get there.
Yeah. Don't ever go into a job interview thinking you're second best or something lesser than some American. there's a lot of idiot Americans out there. The reason we need international students, I'm not lying. The reason we need international students is because American parents and American school systems have been churning out a lot of morons. And I don't know why. Everybody's so successful. They all have A's. Everybody gets a trophy, but nobody knows anything. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. You are not second best. You are the best of the best. And when my son got his first real job after college, his boss's name was Naresh Patel in a science lab in California. And thank God for Naresh Patel and his Indian mother and father. Were those people lesser because they're immigrants? No, they taught my son so much. You guys are the best of the best, and don't let anybody tell you you're not, and don't think you are. You're not. Lean in, be confident, be a go-getter. Listen to Kwan and listen to Angela. Before I start crying, I'm telling you, you are the best. You are not second best. You are the best. Okay, and you got to believe it. You got to believe it.
And remember, you have a bunch of resources here at York College. You have the DSOs, you have the front office admission, you have me and Diego on PBL that can help you stand out. So go ahead and use those resources. We'll have the resources sent to you in the email. Reach out to Arthur. It's a little bit more of those specific, immigration questions if you can't get them answered by the DSOs. And then Coach Kwan would be more than welcome to, kind of help you get along there, maybe even be a part of the ICOA program. So with that, I wish we could talk all night, but unfortunately we have reached the end of our meeting. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to come up to me and Diego. We'll stick around after for a few minutes to talk with you guys in chat. But other than that, it's been so great to, have the panelists here. So everybody give one final round of applause to the panelists. We really appreciate it. And thank you again for presenting to us. We really appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. This was
Thank you,
fun.
everybody.
Thank you,
Just to add to what Josh said, speaking from the international student community, thank you guys. Everyone in this room, has a lot of things to contribute. It's just, finding a strategical way to get our names out there. So thank you guys for the advice. And I'm sure, we'll have more meetings in the future, hopefully.
You're amazing, Diego. Thank you so much.
You guys are amazing. So thank you.
Everybody have a safe holiday break. If you're traveling home to your international country of origin, have a safe travels. And with that being said, you guys have a great evening.
Take
Happy
care.
Thank you, Juan.
holidays.